The family's all here! Edmund McMillen is among the most prolific independent game developers, going from small flash games for Newgrounds to putting his games on Steam and attracting massive success. He's pretty much the living embodiment of the self-made man when it comes to gaming. And while he's bipolar on what balance is and whether or not Binding of Isaac should even be balanced or not, each one of his games stands out as a fantastic piece with an identity all of its own, with a lovely twinge of Ed's own sense of humor and style. Basically put, he's a fantastic developer with games that stand out on their own. So when my stupid ass with an inability to pay the fuck attention heard that a new game of his had just dropped, I dove headfirst, dick out at my wallet. What could it be, I wondered? Well, it obviously wasn't going to be Legend of Bumbo, so what could it have possibly been? What we ended up getting was a sort of, let's say, half sequel, half spiritual successor to Super Meat Boy. So, what do you get when you take Super Meat Boy, slow him down a bit, remove all jumping, replace with ledge clinging, simplify the art a bit, transform roughly 95% of the levels into spike rooms, add a kickin' soundtrack, and turn up the difficulty? A relative lack of identity and a strong feeling of fatigue is what you get. To make things blatantly clear, this is not a bad game. Most of the problems I have with the game come from the fact that literally everything it brings to the table is either things done already by Edmund himself, or that have been available for free on the internet for years now. Look, we're all pretty hardcore gamers here, aren't we? I mean, why the fuck else would you watch this garbage-ass show unless you generally played games as much or more than I do? It's not for my winning personality. It's not because you like me, right? You like me? If you don't say you like me, I'll kill myself. So when you come at me with one-hit kill spike rooms, I think I want to be the guy. I think 1001 spikes. I think of countless free fan-made Super Mario World ROM hacks. I think I've seen this 80 billion times. There is literally nothing new you can do with the concept. And that's what it all boils down to from the most basic design concepts, an idea that Edmund McMillen has already explored with nothing new added. And on top of gameplay being tired from a platformer standpoint, the art direction is severely lacking. Now don't get me wrong, minimalism is a style that opens up many avenues for even the smallest detail outshining the sun. But this game doesn't do that. It's just low numbers of muted colors juxtaposed with heavy blacks. About the only levels that stand out in my head are the Steven levels where you're getting a view of the future. And stop me if you've heard this one. Bonus levels are harder challenge levels done in the style of retro games with an intro screen parodying a classic game. Never seen that before, have you? Hell, even the main character is shown to be pretty heavily beat up, just like you know who. Is this all sounding familiar to anyone? It should. It's just Super Meat Boy with some slight changes. I have played many platformers in my day, from independent developers to Super Mario World ROM hacks to the Super Mario Bros. X engine to FPS platformers to you name it, just don't name it Charlene. And this brings absolutely nothing new or creative to the table. And that's actually a shame to say. Not every game needs to be groundbreaking, but if I can't count on you bringing new ideas to the table, I absolutely have to be able to rely on you at least attempting something new with those ideas. But I really don't get either. And let's be fair, that could be due to my rampant desire to consume just about every game out there. I have played a metric fuckload of platformers, and I have watched other people play at least 3 more metric fuckloads. What the End Is Nigh brings to the table isn't something obscure that some guys make for level contests. It's a tired, ragged, worn-down meme at this point. But what if you don't play all those platformers? What if you're not consuming an endless train of games from all levels of development like you're trying to bury the fact that you're dead inside? What then? Well, it's actually pretty great. It's solid, it's well built, and while it never truly hits pixel perfect platforming, it's hard enough that it will drive even the most patient minds mental. It's got an amazing soundtrack comprised of remixes of classical pieces, an art design that takes a back seat so as to avoid distracting the player, and quite a wide variety of cartridges to collect for added challenge. Each chapter has its own identity, and even the final chapter is somewhat dependent on your completion percentage. It's got classic Edmund humor, it has a voice-acted protagonist, it's got an intro that will change slightly if you're really good. Clever use of the setting for what it is and how it's used, and you can see Edmund playing with several new ideas to him. Putting it up against Isaac, Meat Boy, the entirety of the Basement Collection, it fits in just fine, even if it doesn't really manage to stand apart from Gish or Super Meat Boy. And that's the two minds that I find myself in. As the soulless black hole where my heart should be, having endlessly hungering fuckbucket that I am, drowning every mental process in video games, this game comes up short for me. Maybe not worth the full retail price, but certainly a good solid game, just tiring at this point. From the perspective of someone who isn't well, me, it's actually an interesting value proposition. It's like $15, and since it's Edmund McMillen, that means you get an insane amount of content for your buck. And for the most part, it's content of a great quality. It's challenging and fun, tight controls, and a great sense of humor. You figure out which category you fit in, and that's how you know if it's right for you. I'm the Necroswanson, and you can go fuck yourselves.